By far the smallest and least populated of the 7 kingdoms of Westeros, the Iron Islands are windy, rocky, and miserable places to live. While before Aegon's landing, the kingdom once consisted of almost all of the west coast of the continent and the Riverland, the region now only consists of several small islands: Pike, Great Wick, Oldwick, Harlaw, Saltcliffe, Blacktide, Orkmont, and the distant smallest island of Lonely Light. Crops are almost impossible due to the lack of soil, and livestock is extremely hard to feed. As such, most turn to fishing in order to feed their families, luckily being able to cherry-pick the best crab, shrimp, and fish, as long as they're brave enough to wrestle them from the rough seas. What little wealth the islands have naturally comes from the practical but not precious materials of tin, lead, and iron, only obtainable from arduous labor in the mines. Jutting out from the island of the same name is the ruling seat of House Greyjoy, Pike. The castle is made up of towers built on several small, steep rocks that are connected to each other by derelict rope bridges. The castle has stood for thousands of years and definitely looks like it. It's covered in green algae, and many of the outside walls have become crooked and corroded from the ocean wind and spray. Despite all this, though, Pike still stands, and the majority of the castle is protected by its distance from land and height up from the sea. Just like the Castle of Pike, the Iron Islanders are hard sailors, shaped by the cruelty of their lands. They value strength above all else. It doesn't matter if you're a man or a woman, or if you're highborn or lowborn. When you're an Ironborn, your worth as a person is completely determined by your ability to raid and kill. They believe in only owning valuable treasures if they have taken them off the dead that they've killed, opting never to pay for them in coin. This is also known as the Iron Price. Raiders will often kidnap women as concubines and take men back as servants and workers from the free cities and other parts of Essos. Their personal code of pillaging actually works quite nicely for them in getting around Westeros' slavery laws. Since these men and women were never paid for, just kidnapped, they're technically not slaves. This doesn't do much for their reputation on the mainland, though, as almost all of Westeros see them as violence-loving, honorless pirates. Also, the Ironborn have this lovely little game called the Finger Dance, where they throw axes at each other and try to catch them. Citizens of the Iron Islands are primarily descendants of the First Men, but unlike the Northerners that worship the Old Gods, they worship a single being called the Drowned God. They believe that the Drowned God created the Ironborn with the express purpose of being rapers and conquerors of the seas, carving out their legacies into history in defiance of the Drowned God's sworn rival, the Storm God. Because they believe that the God of the Sea is protecting them, the Ironborn don't fear drowning and wear heavy plated armor to battles at sea when most men would be too afraid. A man who dies at sea will be brought to feast at the halls of the Drowned God and given beautiful mermaids to satisfy their every whim for the rest of eternity. Or so the legend goes. Thanks so much for watching, and hit that subscribe button to release the Kraken, because next time we're going to be meeting the Kings of Salton Rock, the Greyjoys.